Hi, my name is Sonu Singh and welcome to Investing Intel. This is the ninth video in this series of fundamentals to equity investing. And आज के इस वीडियो में we are talking about the portfolio creation and its sizing. And it is one of the most important aspect if you ask me when one is on his or her investment journey, because no matter how smart investor you are, but if your portfolio is not right, okay, sooner or later you will realize that the things could have been much better if the portfolio was right. Okay, so because I have always been in favor of the equities, I firmly believe that in the longer run, okay, equities are something that will give you the wealth generation. Okay, so as an investor na, I feel that if you are young, okay, and uh, because you have so much life ahead of you, and if you are someone who can take a little bit of risk, definitely a calculated risk and a wise risk, okay, then equities are to go. Then the question is, when we are making our portfolio, okay, so there are two aspects to it. The first aspect is what all your portfolio constitutes of, so the constituents of the portfolio, that is the first aspect of it. And then second is what is how, like how much. So this is the second aspect of it. So we'll discuss about the second aspect first, okay. So because I am always in favor of the equities, I feel that 80% of your portfolio, the maximum allocation of your portfolio, should be into the equities. Okay, why equities? Because in the longer run, equities are the asset classes that will outperform the all other asset classes as well as the inflation. Okay, so अब now equity है आपके पास, let's say, so how much of equity it should be? Ideally it should be anywhere between 80 to 90%. Okay, so like let's say आपके पास 1 CR का portfolio है, तो 1 CR में से 80 to 90 lakhs must be in the equity. Okay, we'll talk about how this equity shall be diversified and constructed, but for the time being, let us say that 80 to 90 lakhs rupees of your portfolio should be in the equities. Like, and another 10 to 20% of your portfolio could either be in the gold, or debentures, or sovereign bonds, or FDs, and all, everything, which are the conventional form of asset classes. Now, why this diversification at the basic level? Because equities, because they will be the this will be the asset class that will give you wealth in the longer run. However, there are certain risks associated with this asset class. So now, to counterbalance this risk, what you have is, you have another asset class, while both being opposite in nature. So let's say you have gold, and you have equities. So they, what they are essentially is, they are opposite in nature to each other. So when the markets are down, the gold prices are up, and vice versa. So this kind of creates a balance between these two. Okay, now why not 50% of gold, why not 60% of gold? Because the long term returns from the gold are barely 9 to 10%. So if you are young, okay, and you have 30 or 40 years of investment journey in front of you, you don't want an asset class that that is give or compounding your wealth at just 9 or 10%. Okay, because compared to an asset class which is compounding your wealth at 13, 14, 15%, the difference after 30, 40 years will be significant. Okay, so for this reason, 80% of your portfolio must be in equity, and 20% or 10%, 20% must be in can be in some other asset classes. Okay, now with this, now we'll see a lot, like how this remaining 80% of your portfolio should look like. And this is what we are talking in this video basically. Now, this 80% of your portfolio is basically equities. Okay, now as equities have inherent risk. Okay, now अब दो thoughts of school of thoughts हैं when we are constructing this portfolio. But the first thought of first school of thought is that the portfolio should be concentrated. Okay, and another school of thought is the portfolio should be well diversified. Now we'll talk about these two, okay, in this video. फर्स्ट स्कूल ऑफ थॉट कि आपका पोर्टफोलियो जो है वो कंसंट्रेटेड होना चाहिए. व्हेन आई एम सेइंग कंसंट्रेटेड, it is basically means that ideally you should have 3 to 5 stocks, not much. Okay, now when we talk about this kind of portfolio ना, तो यहाँ पे एक प्रॉब्लम है. लाइक विल कंपेयर दिस टू. तो द वेरी फर्स्ट प्रॉब्लम विद दिस काइंड ऑफ पोर्टफोलियो इज दैट द इनहेरेंट रिस्क टू इट. ओके, लाइक अगर आप देखेंगे ना, दुनिया में जितने भी रिचेस्ट लोग हैं, वाई दे आर रिचेस्ट? बिकॉज दे आर बिजनेसमैन. लाइक ओके, एंड व्हेन यू आर डूइंग अ बिजनेस, इट मीन्स दैट यू आर जस्ट इन्वेस्टेड इनटू वन कंपनी. ओके, सो अगर आपको लाइफ में बहुत अमीर बनना है, ओके, देन business is the way to go. Okay, and because investing is also a kind of business, it's just that you are not doing the business yourself, but you are buying the companies. Okay, you're buying your you are being a shareholder in a company. Okay, so you're buying a part of that company. So because of that reason, सो सपोज अगर आपके पास 1 CR आज की डेट में है, 1 CR का 1 CR, लेट्स से 80 लाख रुपीज़, वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट 80 लाख रुपीज़. सो 80 लाख रुपीज़ लेट्स से आपने आज एक कंपनी में डाल दिए. ओके, सो इफ दिस कंपनी डज वेरी गुड, ओके, एंड इफ एनालिसिस इज वेरी गुड, and it is very likely that you will outperform everyone else in the market. Okay, in terms of the return. Okay, so the opportunity of wealth creation through one stock is much more higher compared to the usual gains from the market, or usual gains from the index, or any other asset classes. Okay, so this is one way of looking at it. But uh, पर ऐसा हम में से कितने लोग कर सकते हैं? लाइक वी कैन इन्वेस्ट इनटू वन कंपनी एंड देयर वी आर सो गुड इन एनालिसिस दैट दिस वन कंपनी itself will be multi bagger, okay, for the next 20, 30, 40 years, whatever. So, and while we are talking about the success of this company, what happens if the company fails? Okay, then, because see, uh, investing into a company, a single company, is as good as doing your own business. So how much of the businesses actually fail or actually succeed? So that is something that you can make out, that the risk of failure is always there. So that is what a different that is what the difference between an investor and a businessman is. A businessman is doing his own business, okay, and the investor is looking for multiple businesses. Okay, so he need not to have his entire wealth or money involved in just one thing. Okay, so जब हम बात कर रहे हैं एक कंपनी की, तो देर आर इनहेरेंट रिस्क टू इट. ओके, देन व्हाट वी डू इज, एज एन इन्वेस्टर, वी डाइवर्सिफाई आवर पोर्टफोलियो. ओके, बिकॉज वी आर नॉट बिजनेसमैन, ओके, वी आर इन्वेस्टर्स. एंड डिफरेंस बिटवीन एन इन्वेस्टर एंड ए बिजनेसमैन इज दिस. ओके, आपका पूरा पैसा एक कंपनी में इन्वॉल्व नहीं है. ओके, तो नाउ द नेक्स्ट लेयर इज, व्हाट इफ आई हैव 4 to 5 कंपनी. सो दिस इज फर्स्ट थॉट ऑफ स्कूल. सो स्कूल ऑफ थॉट. सो फर्स्ट स्कूल ऑफ थॉट. ओके, सो व्हाट दिस सेज इज दैट बिकॉज आपके पास 3 4 कंपनी है, ओके, तो इट इज़ एज गुड एज डूइंग अ बिजनेस. ओके, तो अगर ये 3 4 कंपनी बहुत अच्छा करती हैं परफॉर्म, देन इट इज़ वेरी लाइकली दैट आपके जो हायर रिटर्न, हम लोग जो बोलते हैं अल्फा, अल्फा क्रिएट करने का जो चांसेस है वो बढ़ जाता है. आई मीन, फॉर लॉन्ग ड्यूरेशन यू कैन आउट परफॉर्म द मार्केट एट ए वेरी बिग डिफरेंस. ओके, because let's say market 13-14% पे grow कर रहा है, and some let's say your portfolio you can make it grow at 30% or 35%, then after 10, 15, 20, 30 years it will be a significant difference. Okay, and another benefit of this is that because you have low concentration, as a retail investor you have much more time to understand these businesses, these companies. Okay, no, because as a retail investor, you do not have time to analyze 40, 50, 60, 100 companies. Okay, so these investing into these 3 4 companies will actually help you in understanding these businesses better. Okay, this is the one second point. And the third point to it is that जैसे जैसे लेट से आप डाइवर्सिफाई करते हैं पोर्टफोलियो को, सो लाइक लेट से आपके पास 3 स्टॉक्स हैं, एंड नाउ यू आर going to add fourth, and then fifth, then sixth, then chances are that the conviction you have on this fifth, sixth, or seventh stock is less than the initial 2 or 3 stocks. Okay, right? So with each stock that you are adding in your portfolio, the chances are that your conviction okay, on these stocks will be much lower compared to the initially added stocks. Okay, so that is the third point. And with conviction, it means that you are not you do not understand these businesses well, okay, and you do not have conviction, and you are not very sure of the future prospects of this company, and so on and so forth, right? So this is the third point when creating a concentrated portfolio. And the fourth point is, let's say आपके पास तीन like four stocks हैं, and you have equally invested in these four stocks. So let's say आपके पास 80 lakh rupees है, and you have invested in these four stocks. So what will be your investment to these four stocks? It will be 20 lakhs each, right? Now इसमें से let's say एक जो stock है वो 10 times हो जाता है. Okay, so 25% of your portfolio is becoming 10x. Okay, then your entire portfolio, because of this single stock, will actually become 2.5x, राइट. सो यानी कि अगर आपका एक स्टॉक चल जाता है, देन उसकी वजह से जो आपका ओवरऑल कंट्रीब्यूशन है, जो आपका पोर्टफोलियो की टोटल ओवरऑल वैल्यू है, उसमें काफ़ी सिग्निफिकेंट जंप आता है. सो व्हाट दे से इज दैट एन इन्वेस्टमेंट will actually not just change your holiday destination, it will change your entire life. Okay, so this is one proposition that concentrated investors give. Okay, कि अगर मेरा पोर्टफोलियो में कंट्रीब्यूशन इतना कम है, लाइक उसका एक इंडिविजुअल स्टॉक का उसका वैल्यू इतना कम है, तो इवन इफ इट इज बिकमिंग 10 बैगर और 100 बैगर, इट डजंट मैटर, because जो portfolio का overall return it is not getting changed. Okay, and as an investor, what is important to us is the total overall value of overall performance of this portfolio. We are not looking at in single or a particular stock. We are looking at the portfolios in totality. Okay, so what is important is that how is our portfolio performing at the overall basis. Okay, so this is the fourth point. Okay, कि जब एक शेयर, लेट्स से वी डिड आर एनालिसिस, राइट, एंड उसका हमको रिजल्ट भी मिला, दैट स्टॉक एक्चुअली टर्न 10 बैगर. सो उसका पोर्टफोलियो में इम्पैक्ट विल बी विजिबल. ओके, राइट. नो व्हाट आर द डाउन साइड्स? डाउन साइड इज फर्स्ट, जैसा मैंने पहले मेंशन किया, फर्स्ट डाउन साइड इज द कंसंट्रेशन रिस्क. अगर आपका इनमें से पोर्टफोलियो में से कुछ स्टॉक, एक दो स्टॉक नहीं चलते हैं, ओके, देन the portfolio can underperform significantly. Okay, then second is the probability of finding the winning stock. Okay, so the number of stocks you have in your portfolio is is directly affecting the probability you have to find out the future multi-baggers or growth stories. So let's say किसी पर्सन के पास पोर्टफोलियो में 4 स्टॉक हैं, तो उसके चांसेस ऑफ फाइंडिंग वेरी गुड बिजनेसेस are less compared to a person who is owning 100 stocks. Okay, so probability will be less. Okay, but if you are right, then that will be a big hit. It's like a bull eye, right, कि जिसकी probability है कम होने की, but अगर लग गया, you are making it big basically. And so these are two risks basically कि so एज एन इन्वेस्टर दिस इज बेसिकली अपॉन योर टेम्परामेंट और योर एबिलिटी. अगर आप बहुत स्मार्ट इन्वेस्टर्स हैं, बहुत यू कैन एनालाइज द बिजनेस वेरी इन अ गुड वे, एंड तो और अगर आप रिस्क ले सकते हैं, देन अगर आपका रिस्क एपेटाइट वैसा है, आपका इन्वेस्टिंग स्टाइल वैसा है, देन you can have a concentrated portfolio, not 3 to 4 stocks, but somewhere around 7-8 stocks maybe. Okay, and another problem with this kind of portfolio is that you are not well diversified. तो अगर आपको डाइवर्सिफाई करना है, you need some stocks small cap category, in mid cap category and large cap category. अगर आप यंग हैं तो you may skip large cap category, but otherwise mid or small में you have to have some diversification. Then another layer of diversification is in terms of the growth, value and momentum. Okay, so you need to have some stocks which are in the momentum. You need some stock which have high growth, which are in high growth trajectory, and you need some stock which are value stocks. Okay, and likewise you need some diversification across the sectors. You need some stocks from the from the theme that are running currently. You want some stocks from the sectors that are not cyclical, which are evergreen sectors. You need some stocks from the technology, you need some stocks from the consumer, you need some stock from the capital goods or energy, whatever. So like, so across these sectors also you need some diversification, which is not possible if you are if you have a very concentrated portfolio, right? So now with these limitations, we'll now talk about how what happens if your diversification is too high. Let's say you have 20-30 stocks. No, there is a study, okay, which says that after 15 plus stocks in your portfolio, your chances of the diversification doesn't really help. Which what it means that the advantage of diversification was what it gives you potential, cushion against the risk associated with the equities. So when your portfolio has 15 or more stocks, okay, this diversification वाला जो फैक्टर होता है ना, ये इसका जो इम्पैक्ट आना होता है इन द पोर्टफोलियो, इट स्टार्ट्स टू सैचुरेट. ओके, सो ईच स्टॉक यू आर एडिंग, डाइवर्सिफिकेशन में उसका कोई इम्पैक्ट नहीं आ रहा, रिस्क में उसका कोई इम्पैक्ट नहीं आ रहा. व्हाट ऑन द अदर साइड इज हैपनिंग इज दैट यू आर कॉम्प्रोमाइजिंग द अल्फा. तो आपका जो रिटर्न आप जनरेट कर सकते थे पोटेंशियल, ओके, तो दैट इज बेसिकली गेटिंग कॉम्प्रोमाइज. एंड अगर आपके पास उतने ज़्यादा स्टॉक्स रहते हैं, देन इट इज़ वेरी हार्ड टू बीट द इंडेक्स. ओके, तो जब आप इंडेक्स को नहीं बीट पाए, देन व्हाट फॉर यू आर डूइंग सो मच ऑफ एफर्ट. So then better put your money in the index funds. Okay, so with but होता क्या है, तो what we are saying essentially is that 15 से 20 स्टॉक से ज़्यादा एज एन इन्वेस्टर इट डजंट मेक सेंस, ओके, फॉर रिटेल इन्वेस्टर, बिकॉज आपके पास टाइम नहीं है इतने स्टॉक्स को एनालाइज करने का. ओके, राइट. एंड देन होता क्या है ना, वंस यू हैव दीज मेनी स्टॉक्स, सो आपका जस्ट लेट्स से 80 lakhs का पोर्टफोलियो, यू हैव 40 स्टॉक्स. व्हाट वी सो इंडिविजुअली आपके पास अगर देखा तो ऑन एन एवरेज एक स्टॉक में आपका 2 lakhs का होल्डिंग है. ओके, so now as the holding amounts decreases compared to with respect to the total portfolio size, तो आप ना उस स्टॉक के बारे में ज़्यादा इंटरेस्टेड भी नहीं होते. ओके, आपको लगता है चलो ले लेंगे, कल देखते हैं, बाद में देखेंगे क्या है, अभी तो ले लेते हैं, अभी सही लग रहा है. ओके, दैट इज द काइंड ऑफ एटीट्यूड पीपल हैव. ओके, देन आपको ये इतना टाइम नहीं मिलता है कि आप उस इतने सारे कंपनीज के कॉन कॉल सुन सकें, उनके मैनेजमेंट को सुन सकें, ओके, इन्वेस्टर प्रेजेंटेशन देख सकें. तो यू डू नॉट पुट इन so much effort. And what happens later is that the conviction of that stock is not to the mark. Okay, यानी कि आपको बिजनेस का आइडिया नहीं लगता, आपको समझ नहीं आता कि लेना है नहीं लेना है, या कब तक होल्ड करना है. एंड देन यू इवेंचुअली सेल, देन यू बाय समथिंग एल्स. एंड उसमें जो एक फोकस होता है while building a portfolio and your expectation from your portfolio, that somewhere get compromised. So having too many stocks, that is more than 20, doesn't make sense to a retail investor. Okay, so ideally what should you have is somewhere around 10 to 15 stocks is what this ideal figure is. So जब आपके पास 10 to 15 stocks होते हैं ना, what happens is that you have chance of finding this future businesses. Okay, तो जो फ्यूचर में which can give multi-baggers. See, multi-bagger is not something we are chasing. I've always told that कि multi-bagger को ढूंढना, it is the worst thing one can do. But chances are that you are buying high growth businesses. Okay, now you are well diversified across the sectors, across the scale of the business, across the size of the business. Okay, and across the growth and value and the momentum. Okay, so आपका पर diversification हो गया, you have a portfolio which is giving you sufficient cushioning against the risk of the equities. Okay, and then you have sufficient time to analyze this business and make necessary modification whenever necessary into your portfolio. So, and also what happens is that दो आपका जो रिटर्न होगा, इट विल बी नॉट वेरी सिग्निफिकेंटली हाई, बट इट विल गिव यू सम अल्फा. लेट्स से मार्केट अगर 13-14-15% पे लाइक स्मॉल कैप अगर 17% पे लेट्स से बेंचमार्क इज परफॉर्मिंग, यू हैव अ फेयर चांस ऑफ मेकिंग 20%. एंड एज एन इन्वेस्टर लाइक कॉन्ट्रारी टू अ बिजनेस, बिजनेस बहुत सारे फेल होते हैं, बट एन इन्वेस्टर कैन एक्चुअली सेल थ्रू दोज फेलियर्स बिकॉज ही इज वेल डाइवर्सिफाइड. अगर आपके 10 में से ना अगर आपके 7 स्टॉक भी चल गए, यू आर डूइंग फाइन. ओके, यू डू नॉट हैव टू हैव ऑल winners in your portfolio. Investing is not like a game of where you have 10 questions and you have to hit all 10 of them right. Okay, even if you hit them 7 or 8 right, the chances are you will sail through. Okay, and you need to cut your losses fast. Okay, so whenever you realize that there is a mistake that you have made in a company, or after you have invested there are some changes in the business process, prospects of a company, then what you do is you make suitable rectifications in your portfolio. This is one thing. What happens with this kind of portfolio, 10 to 15 stocks where you have, you also the bets in each stock is significant. Okay, let's say आपके पास 80 lakh rupees का portfolio and you have 10 stocks. Okay, each stock is on an average holding a value of 8 lakh rupees, and 8 lakh rupees will be significant for you. 8 lakh rupees will be something that you will put research to. Okay, आप कहीं पे भी वो 8 लाख रुपए जाके नहीं डाल देंगे. ओके, बट वहीं अगर आपके पास लेट्स से 80 स्टॉक्स होंगे, देन आप 1 लाख रुपए, इट डजंट मैटर टू यू मच, आप डाल देंगे. राइट, तो वो भी एक चीज़ आपको देखना पड़ेगा. एंड सपोज इसमें से अगर कोई एक लेट्स से आपके पास हर एक 10 शेयर है और हर एक में 10% की होल्डिंग है, पर इसमें से कोई 10 बैगर होता है. राइट, इसमें से कोई 10 बैगर होता है, तो आपके स्टॉक्स में उसका 20% का आपको इंक्रीमेंट मिलेगा. पोर्टफोलियो का वैल्यू 20% बढ़ जाएगा. सो लाइक 10% से बढ़ जाएगा, यानी कि वैसा टोटल उसकी शेयर की वैल्यू उस पोर्टफोलियो में 20% की हो जाएगी. So this is basically you have to say. I mean, you want a what? So when making a portfolio, what is important is that you first understand yourself. Okay, there is no right way, there is no wrong way. People have made money in this market in every way possible. Okay, you have to figure out your way. And what is important is you understand your temperament. Okay, if you are very good at analyzing businesses, and if you have high risk appetite, okay, you are in a job or you have a financial background that gives you that stability, then in that case you can have a concentrated portfolio. But see that if you are if you do some blunder, then the damage will be significant to your portfolio. And another way of, and suppose if you are not that aggressive investor, what you can do is you can diversify your portfolio properly between sectors, between size of a business, and and like that you can create a portfolio which is giving you some alpha. Also your bets are significant in each stock. Okay, ऐसा नहीं कि आपने हर एक स्टॉक में 1% डाल दिया, अभी वो 100 बैगर भी होगा तो आपको कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता, पोर्टफोलियो डबल ही होगा. राइट, तो उससे क्या होगा, अगर वो 100 बैगर भी मिल गया ना आपको, तो उसके बाद भी आपका हॉलिडे डेस्टिनेशन ही चेंज होगा, आपका पूरा लाइफस्टाइल नहीं चेंज होने वाला है. बट वहीं अगर आपका उस स्टॉक्स में 10% का कॉन्ट्रीब्यूशन है और अगर आपको वो 100 बैगर मिलता है, तो आपका पोर्टफोलियो 10x हो जाता है, एंड इट कैन बी अ लाइफ चेंजिंग थिंग. ओके, सो as an investor, yes, this was a thing that is very important. So now if we see these two aspects of it, okay, so what I would say is that ideally you should have around 10 to 15 stocks in your portfolio, not more than it. What it will give you, it will give you much required diversification. It will ensure that you are able to generate some alpha when compared to the index. It will give you uh, time to understand these businesses and follow on the management's calls and decisions. And also it will ensure that your if you it will give you enough exposure to an individual stock, that if that stocks becomes the future multi-bagger, then uh, it has a potential to actually change your lifestyle. Okay, so these are the few aspects to it. So I hope that you got to learn something today, and I hope this will actually help you in analyzing your portfolio in a right way. So जब आप अपना portfolio next time देखें, तो please see if your how many stocks you actually hold, and what is your how well they are diversified. Okay, and how well you know or understand those businesses that you already hold in your portfolio. Okay, and I hope that you will try to apply whatever you have learned this today into your actual portfolio, and will do some changes, structural changes if required. Because in the long run what happens is that if your portfolio is not right, suppose you are a very smart investor but you have 60% of your holdings into the debt funds, or let's say FDs or gold or whatever. So no matter what, how good of an investor you are, a portfolio level पे, overall level पे, you'll not do very good. Okay. So, and also when you are analyzing your portfolio, please see that it is not about finding some multi bagger or something. We do not have to brag कि मेरे को ये 10 bagger मिला, मेरे को ये मिला, मेरे को वो मिला. It's not about it. What matters is that at the overall portfolio level, what return you are getting. Okay. And is it worth all the effort that you are putting in. Okay. अगर आपका रिटर्न इंडेक्स से बराबर है, इंडेक्स के जितना भी नहीं, then what for you are here, right? So then in that case you must revisit, you must analyze your mistakes, where you have done wrong. Okay. And that is very important to learn, to rectify, and to implement. Okay. So यहाँ तक ही रखेंगे आज के इस वीडियो को, एंड आई होप यू गॉट टू लर्न समथिंग टुडे, एंड विल होपफुली मीट सून. एंड अगर आप नए हैं चैनल पे, एंड यू आर if you want to stay tuned to my videos, please do consider subscribing. And if you have not checked out my earlier videos, please do, because they will give you, they will be very insightful, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, with this I'll wrap up this video today. Thank you for your patience and attention. Thank you. Bye.